And that's why we light Hanukkah candles 8 days, to remind us of the miracle of the menorah. The miracles that occurred in Hanukkah were twofold. There was the miracle of the battlefield, where the Assyrian Greeks came to conquer Jerusalem. Jerusalem at the time was the bedrock of Judaism. The majority of the Jewish population were living then in Israel and Jerusalem. The Assyrian Greeks came to conquer, and they waged a battle. And the Jewish army was very few. Judah and the Maccabee were, in comparison, a tiny group of warriors. The word Maccabee is the words as an acronym of Mi Kamocha Be'elam Hashem, who is mightier than the strength of God. They went to war knowing that they are fighting the war for God to save Jerusalem. Even though they were few, they were victorious in a most miraculous way. One of the great heroes on Hanukkah was Judith. Judith was the daughter of the great priest who was also the brother of Matisyahu. She was very concerned about the lack of faith in victory, that she felt that there wasn't enough faith in God, that we're going to be victorious. So she decided on her own to make a difference. Judith took some of her maidservants with her, and she got out of the walls of Jerusalem, made it to the enemy camp, where she met up with the general of the enemy who was trying to conquer Jerusalem. She befriended him, and eventually he trusted her, and he invited her into his tent, where she fed him some very salty cheese, which made him very thirsty. She gave him a lot of wine to drink. He became intoxicated. And then Judith decapitated the general, single-handedly. This is the Jewish woman power. She is the hero here. She took the decapitated head, brought it back with her to Jerusalem, and she put it up on a stick so that the army, the enemy, can see that the general is dead. And they dispersed and fled Jerusalem. And for the Jewish people, they saw that their general was killed, so they took a sigh of relief that the threat is no longer there. And thus was the victory of the battle for Hanukkah. There's actually a tradition that we eat dairy food to salute and commemorate Judith for her bravery act in beginning the salvation of Jerusalem and saving all of Judaism that we have till today. But then there was another miracle, which is more of a spiritual miracle. So the Greek influence at the time was ginormous. They were so focused on eradicating Judaism and eradicating Torah study that they thought that it is their mission to be able to assimilate the Jewish people. So much so that they would forget Torah, they would forget God, and they would forget Judaism. And they came into Jerusalem and they put new edicts that they prohibited any observances of the Torah that has to do with faith, such as circumcision, keeping Sabbath, or keeping the Jewish calendar. And they tried to influence as many Jewish people as possible, enticing them with all types of enticements and temptations, that it was a huge, huge spiritual war, breaking down the spiritual commitment of Judaism to God. Although they tried hard, the Jewish people stood strong, and they did not give in. We play and spin the dreidel, which is a top that children would play, that when the scouts came to see if they were studying the Torah, they would close their books and play, and they would leave them alone. It is the children who kept on studying the Torah and kept it alive. When finally the battle was won, both the spiritual battle and the battle on the battlefield, the physical battle, they went to the temple. And the very first thing they wanted to do was to kindle the menorah. There was so much darkness, and they knew that they had to push away the darkness. A little bit of light pushes away a lot of darkness. So one of the traditions were that every morning they would kindle the menorah in the temple. In order to do that, you need pure oil. When they came to the temple, they saw that the place was ransacked, it was violated, that the oils that were supposed to be kept holy and protected from any defilement was all defiled. The seals were broken. Now, they could have used that oil to kindle, but they said, no, that's not what the Torah says. The Torah says it has to be pure oil with the seal of the high priest. And we won this war because we believe in God and we believe in the Torah, and we're going to uphold it. So they found only one jug of oil that still had the seal of the high priest on it. It was enough for one day, and they filled up all the candles. And indeed, they were so happy to celebrate, to kindle the whole menorah. And they figured they only have enough for one day, because it actually takes 8 days to produce enough oil for the rest. So they knew that they don't have enough. But God saw how committed and dedicated they were, that God made the miracle that the oil that was sufficient for one day lasted 8 days. And that is the miracle of Hanukkah. But the lesson that we learn from this is that our commitment to God does not go unnoticed and unrewarded. When God saw how committed we were, that we would only do what's right and do the right thing by using the pure oil with the seal, that's when God made the miracle that it lasted for 8 days. And that's why we light Hanukkah candles 8 days, to remind us of the miracle of the menorah, the miracle of upholding the beautiful precepts of Judaism and believing in God unconditionally and knowing that God will never forsake us. Though no matter what we have been through, God will always be there for us. And that is the beautiful miracle of Hanukkah. May we all be blessed with miracles and miracles and miracles. Happy Hanukkah. God bless you. God loves you.